Hey, welcome to a follow-up video that I did not expect to be recording so soon. So recently I posted a crow's nest video, which is basically a strategy that improves the strongest loadout I've ever seen. If you don't know about that video, I will link the series of videos down below. Basically, it started with the Dirge song. Somebody said, hey, by the way, the Black Metal 6 perk, you see the one here that does 29 to 132 base damage, that is heavily impacted by hero ability damage, and I go more into that into like the strongest video. You can see the thumbnail on screen. That video down below gets way into it. I even had like Cavson, who runs Fortnite DB, show a whole page for me where he actually listed out every single hero that buffs hero ability damage. And basically, when you pair a commander that has that hero ability damage, the 6 perk on these black metal weapons does crazy amounts of damage. Now, that led me to believe that even support perks with high hero ability damage can do a ton of damage. And that is largely true, okay? That is super, super fun, does a ton of damage, and when you pair it with that crow's nest strategy where you're not dashing off the side of the map and getting yourself killed, you can safely deal tons of damage. It's super, super strong. But I got a few comments that inspire me. I read my comments. If I get something wrong, I really appreciate when you guys tell me, because let me talk about this. Flash AC was commented by this guy. You can see it on screen. Huge credit for him inspiring this entire thing, series of videos basically. He said that Flash AC is not quite the highest hero ability damage, but it's one notch below it. And with that phase shift cooldown, you can reliably and consistently activate Chaos Agent to not just reload instantly, but activate that 6 perk at the exact same time. That's what we've been doing with the Blackout AR. You're basically dashing, reloading instantly, booming on the next shot, doing millions of damage per shot. Now, you are doing millions of damage because Flash AC has that high hero ability damage. Happy Holidays is just to activate that more often. And then there are a couple of things to consider. First Shot Rio does not have that highest hero ability damage, but she guarantees that that explosion crits every single shot because the Blackout AR very conveniently shoots 2 shots at a time. So you're basically just boom, boom, you know, critting every single one of those shots. You just boom, dash, boom, dash, boom, dash. So that's what this video is going to be about. And then I continued on with Fumble. So we're using Swamp Knight here, but that's kind of the crux of the video. That's where things get interesting. I opted for Fumble because he had high hero ability damage. Basically, he was the only hero in that criteria that had that highest hero ability damage, but also helped me in some way. But a lot of you pointed out that I am almost never picking up the footballs. Now, I think a lot of people miss the point. We're not using him for the footballs. We're using him because he has the hero ability damage and is sometimes useful. But by sometimes useful, I mean like in the crow's nest up there, basically never active. So some people recommended Battle Beat, and I felt like, you know what? Okay, I know hero ability damage is good, but in support, each hero is only really contributing about 8% of their total stats. That is not that much. It cannot be that much. It cannot be less or more, It cannot be more than 50% damage from Rock and Riff. But then I got another comment from people suggesting Swamp Knight. Now, 42% is notably less than 50, but Battle Beat isn't always active, and Rock and Riff is decaying over time, so she might be a perfectly viable pick in this build, but I love the idea that we are constantly low health, which essentially means Swamp Knight will be constantly giving us a 42% damage bonus to those Mist monsters, which is essentially a 42% damage bonus because we're dealing with a build here so strong that normal enemies just don't survive. There's nothing that is going to survive a full crit boosted, you know, boom. They're just all gonna die. The fatties die in 1 hit. Chrome husks die in 2 hit. I don't really think we need to be worrying about them. But the Mist monsters are just quite there. There's like a break point with the 250 power level smashers where I was barely not 2-hitting them, and it's bugging me. And I feel like Swamp Knight might be the fix there. As for the rest of the build, there are a couple of things that we really need to keep. Assault crit damage is huge. We're guaranteed critting with First Shot Rio, so a 75% damage bonus is just unmatched by any hero in the game. And we do need Fuel for the Fallen, which as of recording, he just came to the shop, but my videos go out every 3 days, and sometimes these videos take weeks to go out, so he might have left the shop. You guys can consult the yearly timeline. I'm going to flashbang in a second here, so if you're in a dark room, be careful. I'll put it on slowly. You can consult this timeline. I link it in every video to check out when stuff comes around. Fallen Love Ranger Jonesy comes out March 2nd, so whenever he might be out in your time, if you're ever watching this in the future, he's a super useful hero. It's 6 energy over 3 seconds, but it's actually 6 energy per second for 3 seconds, and he is absolutely required to keep this build going because we're dashing constantly, using tons of energy, and he's kind of essential. So I feel like with Swamp Knight or Battle Beat, depending on your playstyle, this build is about as optimized as it possibly could be. I'm super open to feedback. If I get this wrong again, hey, I'm happy to show some more gameplay because I love this build. And yeah, without further ado, hopefully Editing Bees has showed gameplay throughout this insanely long intro. I'm just excited about the build. I pounded like a scoop and a half of Advanced GG, link down below, and I'm really feeling it. You could probably tell the caffeine rush. So let's hop in game and see if this works out. All right, hopping into a nice encampment. Teammate doesn't know what's going on, so we should be getting a nice fat damage bonus on these as soon as we take some damage, but I think I took too much damage. Okay, so I want to shoot this mist monster, but I don't think it really needs Swamp Knight to be one hit, so I'm probably going to need a smasher or just cut to like the mission begin. All right, trying this encampment again. I am starting low health, so I should be able to do some good damage. We have healing death burst here, so oh yeah, no, that's pretty much what I expected. However, like I said earlier, the blasters were getting one-shotted in the previous iteration of this build anyway, so I think I'm just going to start the defense, and hopefully we get some big targets to shoot at. All right, hopping straight into it. So got the basic crow's nest layout here. Teammates finally voted, and we should have a really good sight line of the south and southwest area. I do have a campfire over here just to bump into in case I need to revive, but I should be perfectly fine up here. I found out in my crow's nest video, a lot of people pointed out in the comments that I was at 1 HP when I was scared about dying, so there shouldn't be any risk of that. I also realized we didn't actually start the mission, so let me just go ahead and take care of that. There we go, starting for real this time. The encampment kind of kept me busy. Let me actually connect this. Yeah, I got my little half walls, so you can see what I'm doing here. I got my half walls right here and down there so that I don't really dash off the edge. Basically, I want as much view over this mission as I possibly can, and this is just the dream scenario. The explosion is so nice. I point this out every time I use it. Thank you for the bits. And I love that you can just shoot a whole crowd of enemies. You're not just doing the damage normally, you're doing it to every target nearby. And even exploding death burst is just having no recourse with this. Like, there's no way for them to survive these hits. There's a smasher. So we did one shot, and interesting, it actually survived both shots. That's surprising to me because, like I said, I was having trouble two-shotting them before, and even with Swamp Knight, there is no damage drop-off on the explosion. It's not doing enough to two-hit it. I thought that would totally make the difference. I figured 48% should absolutely be plenty, so maybe this smasher not being elemental, now it shouldn't matter because physical and elemental should have the, or nature should have the same damage from fire. That is really interesting. I'm gonna have to get up close and personal with one of those smashers. Maybe the extra damage from the bullets itself is gonna make the difference. Like I said, all of this damage, you can probably see it, is coming from the explosion damage. Like, that boom is really the 2 million chunk that I'm really relying to kill stuff here. It's not going to be super useful to get the actual weapon damage, but if I get a little closer here, this is why I put these walls. Yeah, okay, so he takes a bit more damage, but I think that could have been help from a teammate. Either way, I'm loving this either way. Either way, I'm just having too much fun. Like I said, I pounded a scoop and a half of Advanced GG. The cherry, the sour cherry, a nice little focus drink there. I usually don't do that. So here's the deal. I don't like to drink caffeine too close to bedtime. And what happened in today's instance is I figured, well, I still want some Advanced GG. I want to wake up. I want to be energetic for my videos. And I figured I'll do a scoop and a half, you know, which is a bit more than I usually do. And then I'll drink it within 20 minutes. And I am a little crazed right now, so yeah. You know, hey, I'm not gonna lie, the little tubs there tell you to drink it within 5 minutes, so that's like recommended for maximum performance. I think I might have gone a little overboard, but you know, drink wisely, friends. It's perfectly safe, just a little crazy right now. So yeah, I think I've run out of big targets here, but I've been really loving this position. It's funny, the crow's nest video was a little tough because I recorded in a Deliver the Bomb. So this right here is like a better showcase than I even got in that video. So I'm just happy to bring this loadout back out. Maybe next game, because Swamp Knight's falling a little short for the smashers, maybe I'll try Battle Beat next game. That way I can just investigate both of the claims. Because like I said, I got two different comments. Some people were recommending Battle Beat, some people were recommending Swamp Knight, and And hey, if anybody sees any flaw with this build, let me know, but I think we've got it pretty optimized. Somebody else did suggest Llamurai. So they mentioned that he is in that top tier ability damage instead of Flash AC, and he can refresh using Chaos Agent by using throwing stars. So I love this build. Like, I love that it's not one specific loadout. I feel like this is really, really refined, as mentioned in my crazy long 5-minute intro. But there are some different ways you can play. I think dashing is really great for mobility. I think Outlanders, in terms of a well-rounded playstyle, are really good just for getting around. And being able to farm while you play is super, super nice. However, if you're just going for damage, maybe throwing stars could be a way. Then again, throwing stars are a little bit slower than straight up dashing, and so maybe there's a bit of a difference there. Yeah, see, this is why you got to have the crow's nest. You can see the health. I am way down on my health right now, and even by touching the storm, I could die. So I have to actually be very careful while using this build, and this could not be a more perfect showcase. I am spawn camping this entire side. There are no traps over there. There's no traps over there whatsoever, and I think Phoenix means well. He did run constructor for me, but I'm pretty much locking this down on my own, and that is wonderful to see. All the traps over here are completely unnecessary, and that is the true power of this build. If you can just find a good position like this, not every defense will give you the opportunity. You can just do everything. It is so satisfying. I could honestly just shoot things like this all day. You know, in a video it's tough because I feel like I have to keep talking, otherwise it'd just be me silently destroying. But on stream, oh man, I could use this loadout every mission, and I think I will. So I'm going to record again if we see any big targets. If any smashers start to respawn, I will. Otherwise, we're gonna start the next loadout because I really want to try that out. All right, we got a mini boss. What kind of trap vulnerable? Boo! It's just like a curse that this loadout has, that every single time I try to kill a mini boss with this thing, I'm like 1 for maybe 6 games now where I actually got a mini boss I could do something against. Very disappointing, but it is what it is. So I didn't see any big... Oh, wow. I was just going to start recording again to talk about this playstyle because somebody brought it up in chat, but then a smasher spawns. So perfect. That's just wonderful timing. I was going to talk about this playstyle because I get a lot of comments. As I said, I read them, and people were loving the video. You know, like, hey, this loadout's insane, I love it, but totally not my playstyles. A lot of the more casual players have a hard time staying alive, of course. I mean, look at my health right now. The loadout is very, very lethal, and I feel like that's why this crow's nest design is so wonderful, because this build is kind of gimmicky, dashing around, making yourself very exposed, but we are currently in a nature death burst, death bomb mission. Nature's bad because it crushes my energy if I get hit. Death bombs are bad because death. And then healing death burst just makes enemies not commit the die as well. But if you can just find a position like this, keep yourself out of the danger, and maybe even put a campfire nearby if you need it, it's honestly very safe, extremely viable. Even with like kind of okay accuracy, you can just lock down everything as shown. And I feel like this build is a lot more accessible that way to players who might not want to die constantly. You know, I feel like I'm a pretty well practiced player, but even I will get my ass handed to me if there's a crowd of enemies that I'm inside of and they have death bombs. So, you know, very, very dangerous. By the way, I also put half walls around this. You know, I like to do the nice little square, or even in the crow's nest video, maybe just do this literal crow's nest action. For the thumbnail, I didn't think about it until I made the thumbnail, but I'm like, yeah, wouldn't a crow's nest be like a complete circle? Like, wouldn't this actually be the crow's nest? So maybe I'll try that out next game. All right, I ran a poll, and chat on stream wanted to see Llamurai, and frankly, so do I. I believe the support is just completely the same. I'm gonna keep Swamp Knight to be as consistent as possible. Roxas had to slip out, so Swisher Scene is coming in, so it's not gonna be an apples to apples test. If you personally want to see if Battle Beat is better, then run it on your own. I highly appreciate it. But going to Fortnite DB, I really appreciate him doing this for me. He made this for me and this build, and I really appreciate it. Anybody can go find this on their own. You can see that Llamurai is exactly in that top tier hero ability damage. For reference, Flash AC is right down here as well. So Llamurai should be doing more damage in the lead. The only difference that we might be observing in my video right now is that obviously obviously I supercharged Flash AC because he's so awesome in this build. If I had 5 more superchargers to buff up Llamurai right now, I would. So again, it's not going to be a perfect test, but we're just having fun today and trying things out. So let's hop in game and see how he does. All right, we're in game. Forgive me in advance because I'm not practiced. The 5 key is my throwing star. So that's basically just how it works. You shoot, throwing star, shoot. Oh, hold on. There we go. This is my practice not being a thing. Yeah, we're getting a lot of throwing stars here. And more than phase shift, you might not be dashing around for mobility, but you can actually aim at a target and do more to them. I can't really say that this build needs any help doing more damage, but honestly, it's a pretty good alternative. You know, one thing I don't consider that often is that you can just swap your keys, because I have my mouse button for 9. That's kind of what I do. So if I just save that real quick just for this game, it should be, yeah, it's just super easy, barely inconvenience. Nice, not too bad. So something I didn't think about right away is that throwing stars don't have charges, which means I am waiting a full 3 seconds in between throwing. So I do believe that's a major thing. That is 3 times slower, and I feel like Flash AC is the clear winner there as an alternative, and also phase shifting is cheaper. So couple of notes to consider, but I don't know, the damage might make up for it. All right, we actually got lucky with this game and found a smasher, so let's see kind of how it goes. You know, it's kind of nice to not be dashing off the map. I really think I was wrong, by the way, with the damage making up for it, because shooting a third the speed, I should be doing at least thrice as much damage, and I don't think that's what I'm seeing. By the way, chat is freaking out right now because in recording this clip, I ended the stream for a few seconds on accident, so whoops. All right, the defense begins. Now, I realized this after I finished recording the last clip, last game, that I'm not going to be needing a crow's nest because I'm not going to be dashing off the side. But either way, we could see just how it compares. Wow, wait, was that a trap doing damage, or was that me? It's probably a trap. A little hard to aim on those Riot Huskies. There's a nice big target. I'm going to go for the crowd, though. Nice easy damage on the smasher. He's kind of getting killed by traps, so it's not an apples to apples comparison. I want to see if we can kind of two-hit a smasher. That's really what I want to find out. We got some traps down by the teammates, and I did ask them to trap just so that we don't, fail the mission. But yeah, throwing stars after every hit is not too bad. So like I said, we're shooting a third the speed. But frankly, if you're just targeting smashers, kind of like I am here, you're not going to be shooting super constantly anyway. If you're shooting against hordes of enemies, you will, but you can see that added energy cost for the throwing stars is really mattering here. It is absolutely not keeping up. If I'm not killing enemies, it's not keeping up at all. I want to say it's good enough damage to make up for it, but as stated for the millionth time, with Flash AC as an alternative, it seems like he's just a better lead. However, I'm still enjoying the alternative. I think it's really cool to just throwing stars, like finish off that smasher, and that's kind of a consideration. You know, I keep complaining about not two-shotting a smasher, but in this case, you're re-upping your ability by damaging the smasher a little bit. So in a way, you are two-shotting the smasher. You just shoot him once for the weapon to get him more than halfway, and then you throwing stars, and then that just finishes him off. So I could just activate my ability by finishing him off. Teammate got him there, but you could see what was going to happen. I am playing very dangerously with these death bombs just all around me. And if I had some traps on the ground, I could probably be getting much more energy generation. But 6 energy per second is not enough, because I need 3 seconds to come back with my energy. And well, how much is this counting right now? Does it actually tell me? It doesn't seem as though. Let me just look at it. Let me go all the way to full and just eyeball it real quick here. So we're at 100 now. Looks like about 30 energy. So it's going to take me 5 seconds of Fallen Love Ranger to get my energy back, which means even though I can fire these every 3 seconds, I can't consistently, infinitely do it faster than every 5 seconds. That's a pretty big hit to the DPS. I might be doing better damage per shot, but I'm not doing 5 times as much damage. So that's definitely a consideration. Now, something that's also fair to note is that with Flash AC, yes, you could do it once per second. That's kind of how it works out. He generates a new fragment for your speeding around every 3 seconds. But you also can dash every single second. So there's a bit of a cooldown there. So like you can dash every second for 3, maybe 4 seconds. But then after you do that 4th dash, you are actually waiting for Flash AC. And then on top of that, I believe the phase shift costs about 15 energy. I don't know what that is with Happy Holidays in there. I think it's about 9 seconds or so. And 9 seconds is, or I'm sorry, no, what is it? 15 energy, 9 energy. Sorry, a lot of math today. And 9 energy per second is not what Fallen Love Ranger is coming up with. So it's a little bit discrepancy, a little bit to think about here. And getting hit by these guys is stopping my energy flow, so that's definitely a problem. So it's not, you know, it's not like Flash AC is a golden perfect build, but I do believe it's a superior choice here, even if you're doing less damage per shot. I'm gonna hunt out some big targets. In fact, actually, right here, hunting out those blasters. That wasn't a flinger. Actually, I want the flingers, but hunting out the mist monsters is definitely a good role for this build. If you are running this build and you take out lobbers and flingers, you are just being an excellent teammate. Look at that. Boom! 2 mist monsters for 1 shot. That 4 million was the 2 combined, by the way. Don't get that twisted. Super satisfying. Avoiding the love lobbers, trying not to die. I think I'm gonna probably pause here, and if we see a smasher, I'll come back to you guys. All right, we got a smasher. Let's see. So 1 hit. He's walking into traps, but you can see we're pretty much doing the same as before. I think supercharging and getting that extra hero ability damage would definitely help. And by I think, I mean I know. So it's not a clean test, but you can see the fire rate here is super slow. I mean, I know I'm not dashing off the map and killing myself, but I already wasn't with the... Oh, wow, that was a sacrificial teammate save. I got you, Phoenix, but I'm down. I'm down for the count. All right, smasher. All right, there's a smasher and mini boss. That's what I want. Mini boss. What do we got here? Ricochet. Are you kidding me? Ricochet with this build is a death sentence. Look at my health. Fuck. There's no way. I am so unlucky with mini bosses and this loadout. Theoretically, this should be an excellent mini boss killing loadout, and it just won't happen. It just won't happen. In the original, like, Dursong video, I think I got okay mini bosses, but in every Blackout video since, I just cannot get a mini boss that I can kill with this build. It's either Ricochet or it's like water. I just can't win. I just can't win. But I think that's all we needed to see for the Llamurai part of this video. I don't want it to run on too long. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know that I've covered this build a lot, but I really, really like it. So, I don't know. Sue me. If you have any other suggestions, comment them down below. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next one, and have a nice day. And then